The pregnant widow found a diary in the wall. It was written, "Tomorrow." This is a true story, and I assure you every chilling detail happened exactly as I'm about to reveal in Maple Creek, Oklahoma, during the summer of 2022. As I pried loose the decaying wooden panel, dusty pages fell into my hands, whispering secrets no child should bear. My heart sank when the last entry warned of my husband's tragic fate the next day. The air grew thick with dread, shadows flickered at the corners of the room, and the once familiar scent of lavender twisted into something rancid, suffocatingly sweet. I tasted the bitterness of panic rise in my throat as icy fingers seemed to brush against my skin. A warning that whatever malign presence had lingered before us felt far from dormant. I can still vividly recall the sun-drenched afternoon when I decided to tackle the neglected corners of our aging home, convinced that a little sprucing up could transform the space that held so many burdens. Alone and pregnant, I was consumed with the anxiety of impending motherhood and the desire to create a safe haven for my unborn child. The charm of our Victorian home had begun to feel like a shackle, binding me to the weight of memories and the loss surrounding us. My husband had been caught in a storm of responsibilities. He was working late nights, and as I sat in the silence, I felt the walls echo with every breath I took. As I pulled at the old wooden panel, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting for me beyond the dust and decay. The first wave of unease washed over me as I spotted the diary, its leather cover cracked and fragile. I hesitated, heart racing as I began to flip through the pages, the fragility of the words making my skin prickle. Each entry felt alive, the ink pulsing with an urgency that begged to be acknowledged. It was as if the diary itself was filled with the breaths and whispers of history, eager to unveil itself. When my fingers grazed the last entry, I felt the world around me drop away. "Tomorrow," it read ominously. "Your husband will face a fate that cannot be altered unless you heed this warning." Sweat trickled down my back as dread seeped into my bones. The chilling realization struck me like a physical blow. This was not simply a tale of the past, but a warning woven into the very fabric of our lives. I grappled with the notion that the shadows I had always brushed off now held weight, significance, a presence that felt suffocating. The whispers began tentatively, echoes faint yet distinct, swirling around the edges of comprehension. I turned my gaze towards the darkness, feeling the walls close in as the temperature plummeted. My breath became visible in the air before me, a spectral reminder of the urgency surrounding the unknown. Each flicker of the faded overhead light seemed to mirror my heartbeat, quickening with my growing realization of the impending doom. "You need to listen," a voice, soft yet insistent, seemed to swirl around me. It resonated with a familiar warmth that felt both comforting and alarming. The shadows deepened, warping into shapes that felt deceptively familiar. Images danced just out of sight, teasing the edges of my vision. Every instinct in me screamed to flee, yet I stood paralyzed, compelled to uncover the dark truth. Alone in a house laden with history, I couldn't shake the sensation that the spirits of those who had once walked these halls were now locked in a desperate effort to communicate with me. I could hear them so clearly now. The tones morphed into calls that echoed through the quiet space, articulating secrets in a language only my unborn child seemed to grasp. Was the baby truly feeling their intent, or was this a manifestation of my own fears? With a renewed determination, I clung to the memory of my husband, the man whose warmth, laughter, and love had become my refuge amidst the despair. Could any spirit truly understand what I had to lose? Each heartbeat drummed louder in my ears as I resolved to decipher the threads of fate that knotted themselves around our lives, tangled in a tapestry of love and loss, desperation and hope. Before I continue, it is crucial for you to know that when you encounter the whispers of the past, you must listen. Sometimes that which haunts you may hold the keys to your salvation." The voice of a child echoed in my heart, causing goosebumps to rise on my arms as I realized that if I failed to confront this darkness, I risked sacrificing everything I held dear. The air shifted, laden with their legacy, as I stood poised on the threshold of understanding. The shadows weren't my enemies, but rather guardians surrounding me, desperate to aid in my fight against fate. Would I heed their warnings and alter the course of our story before it was too late? I felt the softness of the shadows cradle around me like a gentle embrace, yet a chill ran down my spine, as though cold fingers grazed my arms. The warmth of the sun outside seemed a distant memory, and the oppressive weight of the atmosphere pressed heavily upon my chest. Each creak from the house's aging frame echoed like a warning bell, deepening the unease settled in my gut. One moment, I was simply trying to paint a brighter picture for my unborn child, and the next, I found myself entangled in a web of time and secrets long since buried. "Stay," the whispers now urged, laced with an unearthly blend of sorrow and urgency, slipping through the cracks of my reality. The way each word lingered in the air sent shivers through my spine, a mix of fear and fascination that left me yearning for more. It was as if they were straining to make me see, to make me understand the significance of their presence. "Protect your child." There it was again, a name, softly pulling me back as if a thread wove through my heart. The room darkened further, shadows coiling around the edges of my vision, almost forming shapes that defied the limits of my imagination. Suddenly, a gust of wind surged through the house, flickering the dim light overhead, illuminating something extraordinary in the corner of the room. A figure, not fully formed but undeniably present, shifted with a dancer's grace. My breath hitched as I caught the flicker of a face, blurred yet achingly familiar. "Mommy," my daughter's voice echoed in my mind, mixing with the presence that wrapped around me, drawing me deeper into their mysterious world. I had never felt the weight of such sorrow before, nor the gravity of their longing. In that moment, I sensed that perhaps they were reaching out not only for me, but for the generations that had come before, souls veiled in pain and love, desperate to connect once more. I realized I stood at a crossroads, teetering between worlds, mine and theirs, on the precipice of revelation. I needed answers, and quickly. The grip of time slipped through my fingers like sand, and I found myself scanning the diary once again, the inked words flashing with urgency under the dim light. "Follow the signs," it urged, echoing the sentiments once more. "Act before it's too late." What would you do if faced with a choice that could alter the course of your family's future forever? I wasn't just a passive observer in this unfolding tragedy. I was the keyholder to a reality that lay before me, hidden beneath layers of misunderstanding and grief. "Speak to us." The shadows seemed to beckon, swirling around my feet, pulling me toward the darkness that begged to reveal its secrets. I could feel the vibrations of their energy merge with my own, recognizing that I was not alone in my fears. My heart raced, abandoning itself to a primal instinct. I steadied my breath, visualizing my husband's smiling face, willing the strength to push through the encroaching darkness. "I'm here. What do you want me to know?" I waited, straining against the hush that enveloped me, the only sound being the rapid thump of my heartbeat echoing in my ears. Slowly, the air around me crackled with energy, and faint images began to materialize against the backdrop of shadows. My husband, vibrant and filled with life, appeared before me in a series of fragmented visions. I could see him laughing, bending down to tie a child's shoe, a slight sheen of sweat glistening on his brow under the afternoon sun. Each glimpse felt like a dagger to my heart. The love I felt mingled painfully with dread. The atmosphere shifted again, thick and heavy, driven by urgency as a chill enveloped me once more. "Look beneath," a soft voice whispered, the chill intensifying around me, provoking the echo of distress. I understood now. The secrets of my husband's fate lingered behind the surface of our daily lives, concealed within the mundane moments we often overlooked. It dawned on me that these visions reflected more than what had been. They were warnings of what lay ahead. With fresh determination, I dropped to my knees, the diary laid open beside me, instinctively listening to the silence between each whispered word. If these spirits sought to guide me, I had to trust that their intent was noble and intertwined with our family's past. The diary pulsated with energy, a beacon of understanding urging me onward. Beneath the echoes of the past and the creeping shadows of uncertainty, I sensed a pattern emerging, their stories interwoven through time, leading me to a thread of connection that could unravel the tragic fate soon to befall my husband. Would I dare to tread into the unknown? Would I be brave enough to delve into the shadows that spoke of love, protection, and betrayal? The house began to vibrate with a low hum, pulsating with energy from the hidden spirits that just wanted to be heard, guiding me further into the intricacies of fate. I closed my eyes, surrendered my fears, and embraced the overwhelming thought that while the past wanted to rewrite our future, I could rewrite it with the newfound knowledge they bestowed upon me. As the cool air swirled around me, I felt a surge of confidence, infused by those who had walked before me. I could change the path before me, writing anew the destinies entwined within our family. The dawning realization gripped my heart with the promise of tomorrow. If I could only decipher their messages, the love and wisdom that flowed through the generations would guide my steps. The time for action was now, and I stepped determinedly forward into the unknown, ready to embrace my role as the protector of my family and the tales interred within the walls that had watched over us for so long. The air shimmered around me, almost electric, as I leaned closer to the diary, drawn to the words that swirled in the dim light. Each sentence felt like a heartbeat, urging me to delve deeper into the narratives that refused to stay buried. I felt the weight of centuries pressing in, a compendium of whispered secrets longing to be unveiled. "Time is fluid," a voice murmured softly, brushing against my ear. I shivered, alone but not alone. The shadows pulsed around me, their presence both frightening and protective, urging me forward. My heart raced with each revelation. I must help him. It became clear that the secrets of my husband's fate were concealed within the mundane moments of our lives, hidden in the stories of past generations. Warnings were embedded in the words, reflected in the visions that swirled around me. I dropped to my knees, the diary open beside me, instinctively listening for the whispers between each line. "Follow the signs, heed the past," the spirits seemed to conjure, and I tightened my grip around the diary. A spark of recognition illuminated those phrases. They resonated within me like truths clawing to break free. Then, the house vibrated with an energy that hummed beneath the surface, infusing the room with life. I closed my eyes and surrendered my fear, embracing the truth that while the past wanted to dictate our future, I could forge my own path armed with their wisdom. "Show me," I whispered, imploring the spirits to guide me. Suddenly, images burst forth, snapshots of lives once lived. A mother laughing as her child twirled in a field, a father tossing his son in the air, joy beaming on their faces, only to morph into darkness, storm clouds churning, hollow eyes pleading for help. The weight of despair loomed, but beneath it flickered a fragile thread of hope. My heart raced as these visions spilled out, intertwining the tragedies and triumphs of our family lineage. I sensed their urgency, an echoing message. Time is short, and the answers lay woven into our ancestry. I thumbed through the diary pages, focusing on the protective symbols and rituals that had been handed down through generations. Trust the legacy. The spirits harmonized, their whispers beautiful yet haunting. Empowered, I absorbed the knowledge within the ancient traditions, ready to face the shadows of our past. The symbols in the diary resonated deeply. They were not only reminders of who we were, but also shields against what threatened our future. The realization struck me like lightning. These rituals held the potential to alter our fate, to keep my husband safe. I took a deep breath, allowing the weight of this new purpose to settle within my heart. With each word, I crafted a plan, something that felt both daunting and exhilarating. The veil that separated our world from the other thinned as I began to stitch together the protective barriers my ancestors had relied upon. The spirits stood with me, supporting my resolve as I became eager to wield the strengths of our lineage against whatever fate awaited my husband. As the intensity in the air swirled around me, I felt a rush of confidence infused by the voices of those who had walked this path before me. I was ready to confront the uncertainties ahead. The shadows, now stretching toward me with an invigorated presence, no longer felt threatening. They were guides, allies in this intricate dance of fate and memory. "Let us help," they beckoned, forming a tight circle around me. I understood now that their intent was for me to harness the power of our family's heritage, love laced with wisdom, protective magic that had weathered storms of its own. With the diary as my guide, I focused inward, envisioning my husband's smiling face as I began to weave a new spell against the looming dangers. The energy pulsed through the air, pushing me towards action. I could rewrite our destiny, and this journey was only the prelude of something greater. No longer was I merely a vessel, I was a guardian. With each commitment I made within my heart, the shadows began to glow, their forms casting ancient symbols into the space around me. I understood now that within those markings lay power, ready to safeguard the love that bound my family. Transformation was within reach. I could feel it unfurling like petals in bloom, resonating with the promise of protection. As I stood in that living tapestry of shadows and whispers, prepared to face whatever lay ahead, the warmth of the past encircled me, like a protective cloak. I was ready to journey into the unknown, armed with the stories that shaped my lineage, determined to change our fate for generations to come. The legacy of my ancestors was etched in my heart, guiding me toward a future where love and protection intertwined, illuminating the path ahead. As I stood amidst the pulsing energy of the shadows, their collective presence was palpable, invigorating my every thought. The air hummed with anticipation, each breath infused with the warmth of ancestral love that shielded me from the encroaching darkness. "Trust your heart," the whispers urged, a rhythmic reminder urging me to embrace this pivotal moment. I shifted my focus back to the diary, steadying my resolve. The protective rituals etched within its pages now felt like a series of threads, each one leading me to weave together a shield from what threatened my family. Closing my eyes, I envisioned the symbols I had learned, tracing them in the air as the shadows began swirling around me, morphing into guides rather than foes. "By the love that connects us all," I declared firmly, "I call upon the spirits of my ancestors to guard my family, protect us from those who wish to harm what we cherish." The words poured from my lips, imbued with intent, igniting the room in a warm, luminous glow. The light blossomed from the runes I traced, casting a brilliant radiance that pushed against the shadow's advance. Each pulse of energy fortified the barrier encircling us, illuminating dark corners that had once threatened to engulf me. I felt the weight of generations behind me, the strength of my lineage coursing through the very air I breathed. But as the protective barrier formed, a darker essence recoiled and writhed, trying to push past my defenses. "You are powerless," it howled, sending chills across my skin. I took a deep breath, focusing on the warmth enveloping me, turning my attention back to the love I felt for my husband. This warmth became my beacon, a light guiding me through the encroaching fear. With each breath, I separated myself from that darkness, pushing forward with renewed determination. "Love transcends all hardship," I affirmed. The shadows shifted, attempting to resist, but I envisioned a radiant shield rising from my core, and I directed that shield outward toward my husband. He became my anchor in that moment. I pictured him vividly, and with every part of me, I wove an intricate tapestry of protection around him, calling on every ancestor who had traversed this very path before me. "You are not alone," I spoke, channeling the combined force of our love into the protective energy, fortifying it with a determination that felt unbreakable. In an instant, the shadows surged forward, frantically battling against the light that enveloped the room. I felt their chaotic energy, but I pressed on, raising my voice. "By the love of my family and the spirit standing beside me, I command this darkness to retreat." The protective light burst forth, enveloping everything in a brilliant glow that pushed the shadows into retreat. I could hear their howls fade, drowning in the overwhelming power of love, igniting the air around us. With every ounce of energy I directed toward the barrier, the darkness sputtered and shrank, desperate to hang on, yet clearly outmatched. The warmth of the light wrapped around me like a shield, forged by the very essence of my lineage. I held on to that light, feeling the connection of every spirit who fought alongside me. As the last remnants of shadow dissolved, I breathed deeply, relief washing over me like a comfort as the room filled with silence. The oppressive energy lifted, leaving behind an illuminating calm. Glancing around, I was met with fragments of soft luminescence, the spirits swirling in reassuring patterns, their presence now a gentle embrace. I knew this was just one of the many battles I would face, but I felt stronger, fortified by the bond I'd woven with the spirits of my ancestors. With my heart aflame with their love, I resolved to confront the uncertainties of the future. I was no longer just a vessel. I was a guardian, ready to protect my family with everything I had. Standing poised in the aftermath of this confrontation, I felt a profound shift. The shadows that had once been my fear transformed into guides, urging me to understand that the journey ahead would require wisdom, love, and an unwavering resolve. I had rewritten not just a moment, but a pathway leading to a future where our story could continue. A life intertwined with legacy, love, and light. As I prepared to move forward, the warmth of my ancestors encircled me. I understood that in every whisper of the past, in every flicker of light, lay the strength to shape our fate for generations to come. The path ahead was illuminated, and I was ready to embrace it. I stood in the quiet aftermath, the air now filled with a tranquility that felt almost surreal. The soft glow of lingering spirits danced around me, reminding me that I was not alone in this fight. I took a moment to center myself, allowing the warmth of their presence to nurture my spirit as I prepared for what lay ahead. "Where do we go from here?" I whispered into the stillness, yearning for direction. The shadows no longer loomed menacingly. Instead, they flickered with potential, eager to guide me. The atmosphere, loaded with expectation, seemed to resonate, as if the very walls held their breath, waiting for my next move. Tapping into the energy I had forged during the confrontation, I focused on my surroundings. The diary lay open before me, every word a testament to the legacy that fueled my resolve. I chose not to look back. Instead, I sought the path forward, one that would expose the hidden dangers threatening my family. "Take me where I need to go," I commanded, feeling the energy shift in response. A rhythm pulsed through the air, guiding me toward the kitchen where I sensed a new kind of energy building. Shadows glided along the walls, leading me as I navigated the familiar space, now transformed by the revelation of spirit power. As I entered the kitchen, I was struck by a sense of urgency, palpable in the air. I could feel my heart thunder in my chest, mingling with the rising heat that seemed to surge from the very floorboards. That's when I noticed the small, silvery object lying on the ground, a key glinting in the light. I approached it cautiously, my mind racing with possibilities. "Is this what you want me to find?" I asked aloud, kneeling to pick it up. The moment my fingers closed around the cool metal, an immediate rush of energy zipped through me, Images flashed in my mind, flickering memories of doors long closed and whispers urging me to discover the key to past secrets. "You must unlock the truth." A voice resonated softly within me, echoing the urgency I had felt. I recognized this was the nudge I needed, a clear call to action. In the corner of my memory, I recalled the remnants of an old cellar door at the base of the stairs. The door had always seemed locked, a small, nondescript detail tucked away in my mind. Could this key hold the answer to the enigmas that had plagued our family? With unyielding determination, I made my way down the winding staircase, the shadows of my ancestors trailing behind me. I clutched the key tightly, feeling their support pulse through me. As I reached the door at the bottom of the stairs, a thrill shot through my veins. The door was weathered, the wood splintered from years of neglect, yet it stood resolute, waiting for this moment. I centered my focus on the keyhole, inserting the key with bated breath. The mechanism clicked as I turned it, each sound resonating like a heartbeat echoing in the stillness. With a slow, steady push, the door creaked open, revealing the darkness beyond. My heart raced at the sight, cobwebs draped in every corner, dust particles glimmering in the meager light filtering through a single cracked window. I felt the weight of history descend upon me as I crossed the threshold. A shiver ran down my spine as I stepped inside, senses heightened. I took a moment to let the atmosphere settle around me, my instincts prickling with awareness. In the far corner of the cellar, shadows gathered under a stack of crates. Approaching them, I placed my hand against the crumbling wall and felt a flicker of energy surge through me. It felt familiar, intimate even. Peering closely, I could see writings scrawled on the wall, ancient symbols, the remnants of rituals practiced long ago. The very essence of my ancestors pulsed within them, secrets of protection lingering in the air. Enthralled, I ran my fingers along the markings, allowing their energy to seep into me. Suddenly, a vision unfurled, figures performing rituals beneath the light of a full moon, their voices chanting in unison. The energy swirled around me, lifting, empowering, infusing me with the past as I understood my purpose. Here lay their wisdom, the power that had shaped generations. "Today, I will continue your legacy," I vowed aloud. Drawing strength from the spirits, I felt emboldened, ready to harness their knowledge for our present challenges. I dug deeper among the crates, clearing debris when something caught my eye. A weathered box, adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to pulse with energy. Unable to contain my curiosity, I carefully lifted it from its resting place. My heartbeat quickened as I brushed aside layers of dust, revealing a latch that clicked gently open at my touch. Inside, I found a quilt, an ancestral piece stitched with protective symbols, woven tightly with love and care. The moment I laid eyes on it, I understood its significance. It was a talisman of my family's protective magic. I gently unfolded it, feeling a rush of warmth envelop me, sending vibrations coursing through my veins. Grasping the quilt, I understood it was time to embrace the gifts of my ancestors. I returned upstairs, determined to rekindle the light of protection around my family. As I reached the top of the stairs, I felt renewed strength surge through me. I had discovered not only my lineage, but also my role as the guardian of its legacy. Armed with the knowledge of the past and the layers of protection surrounding me, I was poised to confront the chaos ahead. The path to recalibrating my family's future had opened, and I would use every facet of the power I had awakened. This was my duty, my purpose, and I was ready. Together with the spirits of the past, I would ensure our story continued, a blend of love, resilience, and protection for generations to come. With the quilt firmly grasped in my hands, I felt a surge of energy radiating through me. It was as if the very fibers of the fabric sang with ancestral magic. Each stitch represented a story, every symbol a lineage of loving protection forged over decades. The quiet power coiled within me, amplifying my resolve. My family's legacy now rested in my palms, and I was determined to wield it against whatever darkness loomed on the horizon. I made my way back into the living room, the quilt trailing behind me like a shimmering cape as I prepared to invoke the protective magic I had unearthed. The warm light from the sun streamed through the windows, casting playful shadows on the floor. As I spread the quilt across the back of the couch, I began to arrange it with care, centering my thoughts, breathing deeply, and remembering the teachings of those who came before me. "Spirits of my ancestors, I call upon you," I said, my voice steady yet soft, melding with the rhythm of my heart. "Guide me to protect my family with the wisdom and strength you have passed down through generations." I envisioned a protective barrier encircling our home, a force field tinted with love and light that shielded against malevolent intrusions. As I closed my eyes, I envisioned the protective energy pouring from the quilt, cascading outward, covering every inch of our space. The warmth enveloped me like a comforting embrace, coaxing the shadows to retreat and illuminating the corners that had once felt dark and foreboding. The symbols on the quilt seemed to glow as they became conduits for the ancestors' power. "Let the warmth of our lineage seep into these walls," I continued, envisioning each room wrapped in a cocoon of familial love and protection. Slowly, the light infused the air, and I could feel it creating a tangible boundary, pushing back against any residual darkness that might dare to intrude. It expanded with my every breath, a vibrant testament to the bond I had with my ancestors. But then, a sudden chill swept through the room, making me shiver. The warmth around me flickered momentarily, revealing the fragile balance we were negotiating. I opened my eyes just in time to see a dark mist coalesce near the front door, twisting and writhing as if trying to break through my defenses. My heart raced, fear threatening to tip the balance of energy I had just cultivated. Not this time. I steeled myself. Drawing on the quilt's energy, I shouted, "You will not touch my family. This house is protected by love and the strength of my ancestors." The words echoed, and as I spoke, I felt the spirits rallying around me, their presence amplifying the light. The dark mist laughed, an echoing sound that reverberated. "Protection is an illusion," it taunted, slithering toward me. "Love cannot shield you from what must come. You cannot fight fate." I felt a wave of fear collapse against the tide of determination flooding my heart. I wouldn't let doubt creep in. Instead, I took a deep breath, focusing on the quilt and invoking every story it held. "Fate has no power here. I carve my own path," I declared. The energy surged again, bright and potent. As I held the quilt tighter, the threads began to weave themselves into glowing patterns, forming a protective net. I could see the ancestral spirits gathering, their forms radiant and powerful. They were ready to stand with me in this battle. As the dark mist came closer, it pressed against the invisible barrier, struggling and dashing itself against the light. The symbols shone brighter, and powerful wisps of energy shot through the room, crackling like static electricity. "Leave this place," I commanded, and suddenly the spirits stirred the air, their haunting chants filling the space, harmonizing with my words, echoing my courage. The darkness contorted, its form shifting violently as it began to lose coherence against the onslaught of light and sound. "I cannot be vanquished so easily," it screeched, twisting and curling, but I could sense desperation creeping in its tone. "You will pay for this defiance." "Not if I have anything to say about it," I retorted, drawing on every ounce of strength with the spirits amplifying my voice. Together, we fueled the protective energy, directing it toward the malevolent presence. "You are not welcome here. Leave or face the wrath of those who came before me." With my words piercing the air, the dark mist recoiled, vibrating as the light surged anew. The ancestors rallied beside me, and the sounds of their chants blended with mine, creating a symphony of defiance and protection. Like a tempest, the energy surged through me, driving away the darkness as if it were mere smoke before a fierce flame. The mist howled, struggling to withstand the unyielding light. But the more it pushed against the barrier, the brighter the quilt glowed, illuminating everything around it. Finally, with a crash, the dark mist dissipated, the remnants evaporating like morning dew beneath the rising sun. I could feel the atmosphere shift. The darkness banished from our home, a tangible sense of relief flooding in its wake. The light of the quilt remained steadfast, a beacon of protection in the stillness that followed. I dropped to my knees, breathless yet empowered, feeling the weight of my ancestors' presence wash over me in a wave of warmth. I had faced my fears and emerged victorious, ready to protect the family I held dear. As I looked around the now illuminated room, a profound sense of peace settled within me. I knew that I would face more challenges ahead, but the spirits had shown me that with their guidance and the love that bound us, we could withstand anything. Together, we would build a legacy of light against the shadows that dared to threaten us. Rising to my feet, my fingers brushed against the quilt. It had become more than just a talisman. It was a symbol of our family's resilience, the love that transcended time and space, and a reminder that protection lies within all of us when we stand united. I was ready to face the next chapter of our journey, armed with love, ancient wisdom, and an unbreakable spirit. I stood in the tranquil aftermath, the weight of the quilt resting heavily against my heart, while the last whispers of the dissipated darkness faded from the corners of the room. The air hummed with a gently lingering warmth, a sign that my ancestors remained close, embracing this moment of victory with me. I could feel their guiding presence, the power of their support pulsing like a steady heartbeat, illuminating the path I must walk. As I took a moment to collect my thoughts, my gaze drifted to the windows that framed the world outside. The light of day streamed in, brightening the room further as if honoring the protective energies I had forged. Yet beneath that peaceful exterior, I sensed the weight of unhealed wounds lurking on the horizon. I knew the battle with darkness was far from over. The mist had simply retreated, taking a moment to regroup. "Why are you still here?" I asked aloud, trusting that the spirits would guide me. "I feel your presence, but I need clarity. What must I do next?" It was then that a gust of wind gusted through the open window, sending a shiver coursing through my spine. The movement felt almost like a response, pulling my attention toward the forest that bordered our home. I could see its branches sway, a rhythm that resonated in my spirit, as if calling me to listen. I took a deep breath, the scent of damp earth and wildflowers filling my lungs, grounding me. "Okay, I hear you," I said softly, allowing intuition to guide my steps toward the door. As I crossed the threshold, I wrapped the quilt around my shoulders, its protective energy reinforcing my resolve. With each step, I felt whispers urging me onward, revealing the secrets hidden within the woods. The soft crunch of twigs beneath my feet harmonized with the rustle of leaves swirling in the breeze as I ventured deeper into the greenery. It felt alive, every element around me thrumming with purpose, urging me to connect with an ancient wisdom long forgotten. Shadows flickered between the trees like fluttering spirits, urging me to follow. Eventually, I arrived at a clearing, a sacred space that felt welcoming and charged with vibrant energy. In its center lay a moss-covered stone, seemingly untouched by time. Kneeling before it, I traced my fingers lightly over its surface, feeling a dense energy pulse beneath my fingertips, as if the stone itself held memories of ages past. "Is this where the answers lie?" I whispered, acknowledging the significance of the energy I felt. The air thickened, swirling with unseen forces as a wave of clarity washed over me. I could feel the spirits manifesting their presence, guiding my understanding, each breath connecting me to the wisdom of the land. Then a voice, soft yet powerful, broke the silence. "You seek to protect your family, but you must also understand the truth." It echoed around me, intertwining with the nature surrounding me. The voice was unrecognizable, yet filled with an essence I felt deep within my soul. "What truth?" I inquired cautiously, feeling the flutter of uncertainty in my chest. "The darkness you fought is a part of this land, born from the pain that it has witnessed. To protect your family, you must acknowledge the wounds of the past." I nodded slowly, piecing together the elements of this encounter. "You mean the pain of those who lived here before?" The realization came crashing down like thunder. This darkness is tied to the history of the land, of the spirits who sought to protect from the wrongs that were never reconciled. "Yes," the voice affirmed, its tone gentle yet insistent. "To heal, the past must be acknowledged. It is an entwining web. Every thread matters. Honor it, for in understanding it, you empower your family against the darkness." The connection crystallized the moment the voice spoke, anchoring my resolve deeper than ever. The quilt felt lighter on my shoulders, almost humming with agreement as I looked toward the shadows in the forest. Then how do I honor them? With that, I felt a strong urge to gather items around me: stones, fallen branches, even sprigs of wildflowers. The air thrummed with energy as I began to create a small altar at the base of the moss-covered stone. Each element I placed carried intention, a symbol of gratitude for the spirits who had long tread these grounds, as well as a promise to learn from their experiences. My fingers dug into the earth as I placed the stones, their surfaces cool against my skin. I whispered names I didn't know, giving voice to the spirits who had once walked here. The air shifted unexpectedly, wrapping around me as soft gusts encouraged my offerings to take root. When I finished, I stepped back, gazing at the small altar. It was adorned with woven elements of nature, creating a tapestry of connection and understanding. "Thank you," I uttered, the words escaping my lips with heartfelt sincerity. I felt grounded, realizing the importance of acknowledging our past to build a stronger future. I took a deep breath, allowing the lessons to settle in my heart. I was a guardian, resilient and aware of the rich tapestry of emotions surrounding this land. With this newfound clarity, I understood my responsibility wasn't just to protect my immediate family, but to honor the spirits who had come before us and listen to their stories, ensuring the legacy continued. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, I rose with purpose, feeling transformed. I had forged a bond with the past, and now I needed to return home to safeguard my family and prepare for whatever challenges lay ahead. The shadows outside may have retreated, but I felt empowered, armed not just with my own love and determination, but with the wisdom of the spirits who had shown me the way. This was a new beginning, a blending of heritage, strength, and devotion. A promise that I would not let the darkness emerge again. I stepped away from the clearing, my heart lightened by this journey, ready to embrace both the light and the shadows, while guiding my family through every challenge we might face. Together, we would honor the past while looking forward, creating a future that would withstand anything. As I made my way back home, the woods felt different, alive with possibilities and resonating with the energy I had forged amongst the ancient spirits. The sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, a perfect backdrop to my newfound clarity. Each step felt lighter, invigorated by the communion I had shared with the past, and as I approached the threshold of our home, determination coursed through my veins. Once inside, I embraced the comforting ambiance of the familiar space. The soft glow of the lamp in the living room illuminated the room where my family had gathered, and I felt an overwhelming urge to share my journey. "Hey, can we talk for a minute?" I called out, drawing the attention of my children who looked up from their activity. They turned to me, curious and alert, having sensed the change in the air. I could see their innocence and the joy of the moment, and I felt their presence wrap around me like the warmth of the quilt. My heart swelled with pride as I took a breath, pulling my thoughts together. I went to the woods today, I began, watching their faces grow intrigued. I found a special place and learned about our ancestors, about the spirits who lived here long before us. My daughter leaned forward, her eyes wide with wonder. "Did they talk to you?" she asked softly, a touch of awe illuminating her expression. "Yes, they did," I replied, feeling the weight of the quilt on my shoulders, igniting the power within me. They shared stories of love and protection and how important it is to remember those who came before us. They showed me that our family's legacy is intertwined with the history of this land and that we have a role in honoring both. "Like how we keep family traditions," my son chimed in, his young mind grasping the connection. "Exactly," I affirmed, a smile spreading across my face. "And now, it's our turn to ensure the good things continue for generations to come. We can blend what we have learned and weave it into our lives." I could see a spark igniting their imaginations, and I seized the moment. I created an altar for our ancestors in the clearing. It is a place where we can connect with them, honor them, and draw strength from their wisdom. I want you both to be a part of this journey with me. Their enthusiasm bubbled over, and they eagerly agreed. "Can we go see it?" my daughter asked, her eyes dancing with excitement. "We can tonight if you'd like, though it's best seen under the moonlight," I said, knowing that the enchanting glow of the night would transform the clearing into a sacred space. As dusk settled in, we returned to the woods together. The shadows began to stretch, eagerly welcoming us back to the new sanctum I had created. I guided my children to the clearing, and their expressions shifted to wonder as they beheld the small altar adorned with stones and wildflowers. "Whoa, Mom, it's beautiful," my son exclaimed, gazing at the arrangement. "Thank you," I smiled, motioning for them to step closer. "Feel the energy in this place. This is a link to our past, an opportunity to connect with those who love us from beyond." We gathered around the altar, and I took their hands, feeling the warmth of their small palms against my own. "Let's honor our ancestors," I said softly. "We can say their names and remember what they fought for." As we offered our wishes and whispers into the twilight air, a gentle breeze swept through the clearing, a sign of the spirit's welcoming presence. The very essence of nature seemed to vibrate in rhythm with our words, and the warmth collected around us like an invisible shield. "Let's make a commitment," I suggested, "to remember them, to share their stories, and to protect our family with the love we cultivate together." They nodded in earnest agreement, filling my heart with hope. This was not just a moment. It was a lineage reborn, a dance of love and resilience stretching across time. And at that moment, I felt a rush of peace wash over me. I knew the darkness still lurked, merely waiting for a moment of weakness to strike. Yet I also understood that we would face it together as a family, rooted in love, honoring our heritage, and equipped with the wisdom of those who had walked this land before us. With the moon looming overhead, casting silver light upon us, I recognized that what had once cast shadows could now illuminate more than ever. The path ahead was filled with both challenges and blessings, but I was ready to lead with courage, ensuring that, together, we would transform this home into a sanctuary. As we stood hand in hand beneath the stars, I felt an overwhelming connection, not just to my family, but to every spirit that had traveled before us. We would weave their legacy into the fabric of our lives, nurturing it with care as we moved forward, together, unyielding and ever hopeful. The night wrapped around us like a warm embrace, filled with the soft glow of the moonlight. As my children and I stood hand in hand, I felt a renewed sense of purpose blossoming within me. The stories we had shared resonated like a protective chant, reminding us that we were never alone in our journey. "Mom, do you think the spirits can hear us?" my daughter asked, gazing up with wide eyes filled with wonder. I nodded, allowing my heart to fill with warmth. "Yes, they're always here, watching over us. Every time we remember them, we strengthen that connection. Inspired, I suggested, how about we share stories of our ancestors? Let's honor those who came before us. My son was quick to jump in, his excitement palpable. I want to talk about Great-Grandpa Joe. He was a hero during the war, right? Absolutely, I affirmed, feeling nostalgia wash over me. He was brave, but he also believed in kindness and community. He showed us that courage isn't just about fighting, it's also about lifting others up. My daughter added, and he always said to help people when they needed it. Her excitement was contagious, illuminating the clearing around us. Yes, I encouraged her enthusiasm. Exactly. Those lessons are part of our legacy. We can carry them with us as we grow. The night air was alive with a gentle breeze weaving through the trees, making it feel like the spirits around us were nodding in agreement. I want to talk about Grandma Lydia, my daughter said, her voice steady with admiration. She always made the best cookies and had the most beautiful garden. Grandma Lydia's flowers were incredible, I recalled, my heart swelling with pride. She believed in nature's healing power, just like we should nurture our relationships and home. The atmosphere began to glow with our shared memories, as if the very earth beneath us resonated with our words. Plus, her cookies made everyone happy, my son chimed in. I miss her so much. Those sweet memories keep her spirit alive, I said softly, feeling my eyes mist with emotion. By sharing our stories, we're honoring her love. As we continued to speak, I noticed fireflies emerging, their soft glow enchanting the surrounding woods. The enchanting dance of light elevated our shared moment, creating a magical backdrop for our heartfelt tributes. With night giving way to dawn, I suggested we take a moment to reflect on all we had shared. Let's stand in silence, feeling the support of our ancestors. Thank them for their guidance and protection, I proposed, closing my eyes in devotion. Together, we stood quietly, letting calm wash over us, breathing in the tranquility of the early morning. The bond we shared strengthened as energy radiated from our joined hands, illuminating our hearts. When I opened my eyes, the sky had begun to lighten. Let's symbolize this connection, I said, motivated. We'll each pick a stone from this clearing to represent our commitment to carry our family's legacy. The children dashed eagerly to find their stones, each selecting one that spoke to them. I watched as their choices reflected not just the beauty of nature, but also their personalities, each one unique, each imbued with sentiment. As we gathered around the small altar, I placed my chosen stone in the center. Let's inscribe our names on these stones, along with words that represent our promise to honor and protect our family, I suggested. The energy between us buzzed with excitement as we etched our names into the cool stone, sealing our commitment to keep our ancestors' memories alive. With each inscription, I felt a surge of empowerment, a reminder that we were all connected, bound by love and history. Standing together around the stones, I looked into my children's eyes, feeling a sense of pride. In darkness, we'll remember this moment, I declared. We are never alone. We have each other and our ancestors with us as guides. A sense of unity enveloped us as we prepared to head back. The first rays of sunlight broke through the trees, illuminating the clearing with a warm glow. With our hearts filled with hope, we stepped into the light, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. This was not just the dawn of a new day. It was the beginning of a continuous journey, a legacy carried forward through love, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family. Together, we walked back home, reaffirming a commitment to embrace our past while forging our future. A family prepared to meet life's journey, hand in hand, heart to heart, guided by the spirits of those who walked before us. The warmth of the sun began to envelop us as we emerged from the woods, the light washing away the lingering shadows of the night. My heart felt buoyant with hope as we returned to our home, each step reinforcing our commitment to honor our ancestors. The stones we had chosen, symbols of our unity, rested securely in our hands, each one a testament to our shared heritage. Inside, the familiar sounds of the house greeted us, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the rustling of the curtains as a gentle breeze flowed through the kitchen. I felt a surge of gratitude for this space that held our laughter and memories, but also for the legacy that guided us. As we settled down at the kitchen table, I proposed, let's create a ritual around our stones. We can display them in a special place, and each week, we'll share a story about our family or the lessons we've learned. My daughter's eyes sparkled. Can we paint them too? Absolutely, I replied, thrilled by her enthusiasm. Let's make them colorful and meaningful. They'll be our family's reminder of our commitment to each other and our past. We spent the next couple of hours gathering paint, brushes, and other materials. I watched as my children poured their creativity into transforming the stones, each stroke representing their connection to our ancestors. My son painted images of flowers and trees, woods that echoed with stories of resilience and beauty. I want my stone to remind us to stay strong and protect our family, he explained, focusing intently on his work. My daughter chose vibrant colors, drawing swirling patterns that flowed like rivers, symbolizing the ever-present cycle of life and family love. This is like a river that connects everyone, Mommy, she said, clapping her hands in joy. I painted my stone with a heart, shaded with red and gold, colors that signified love, strength, and hope. This act of creation bound us even closer together, each stroke a pledge to nurture our bond. Later that day, as we cleaned up our workspace, I noticed a change in the air, a stirring that hinted at something deeper. The energy in the room felt charged, saturated with purpose and anticipation. I paused, sensing an unseen thread connecting our creative act to something greater, a whisper of the ancestors acknowledging our efforts. Do you feel that? I asked, looking at my children. Their faces mirrored my curiosity as they nodded, glancing around in wonder. Maybe it's the spirits saying thank you, my daughter said quietly. Exactly, I replied, filled with warmth. They're here, guiding us and supporting our commitment to our family's legacy. That night, as we gathered around the dining table, I illuminated our stones with candles, their flickering light casting dancing shadows on the walls. The warmth of the flames intertwined with the spirit of our shared history, turning our small space into a sacred gathering place. I want everyone to remember what these stones represent, I said, my voice steady and sincere. They symbolize our promise to each other and to the loved ones we carry in our hearts. Each time we look at them, let us remember the stories, the laughter, and the lessons that have shaped us. My son proudly placed his stone in the center, its vibrant painting radiant in the candlelight. This is to remind us to stay strong. And this one is to show the love that keeps us together, my daughter added, her voice bright with excitement as she placed her river stone beside his. I placed my heartstone next, creating a beautiful trio that glimmered under the glowing light. This was more than just art. It was a connection, a promise to guide and uplift one another as we navigated life's journey. As we shared stories of our ancestors around the table, I felt an undeniable presence. The more we spoke, the stronger the connection grew. With each memory, it was as if the spirits joined our circle, their voices weaving through the fabric of our family narrative, validating our journey and sealing our bond. After dinner, we began a new tradition of sharing a family blessing, a short prayer crafted from our hearts. Together, we bowed our heads, joining hands once again. May we always remember those who came before us, their love lighting our path, I began, feeling the weight of the moment. May we stand strong in the face of adversity and cherish each other's stories. Amen, my children echoed in unison, their voices harmonizing in a melody of love and unity. As we lifted our heads, the room felt illuminated, charged with energy and warmth. I understood deeply that what we had initiated was a profound transformation, a sacred space where the past met the present, allowing us to forge a legacy that would carry forward into the future. That night, as I tucked my children into bed, I whispered, "I am proud of you both. Together, we will always honor our ancestors and create a future filled with love." They smiled, their innocence glowing in the soft light of their room. With hearts intertwined, we drifted into dreams of connection and unity, ready to embrace whatever awaited us beyond the waking world, guided by the spirits of our family and the light of hope that always shone within us.